I think it's time for me to talk about my apprenticeship process. A major portion of my life at this point is the process of me trying to get into this electrical apprenticeship. The actual license for this type of electrician is called EL01, so we just call them O1s. It is street name Inside Wireman. I guess it's an official title too. The license is O1. The title is Inside Wireman. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it because it's so dark. So I've been trying to get into this since September 2016. It's been a very long, difficult process. So one day I said, I need a real job that's going to interfere with my theater schedule, something that is for grown-ups, that has longevity to it. So I got a hold of my buddy who's an electrician because my brother was telling me that he makes close to 6 figures doing that, and I was just like, working with your hands, mechanical type stuff, that's what I do. So I went and talked to him, and he's just like, oh yeah, we're always looking for apprentices. So I got into the process of it. The application turned out to be way bigger than I would have expected. Different websites, different hoops you had to jump through. It turns out that they get something like 22 to 2,500 applicants a year. They only take 200 of those. So I think as far as weeding out, how many people get in, it's more or less people need to get their experience first, show that they're committed. All those other people that don't get in, they probably get a lot of people that drop or just choose something else because, it's a 4-year apprenticeship, 5-year apprenticeship. But the point is, the application process is so long and daunting. You've got your regular, you got to pay for the application, you got to send in all the paperwork to the certain email, you got to get letters of recommendation, you got to get transcripts from school, you have to prove that you have certain grades in math. There's so much to do to prepare for, and then once you do that, once you get all of your paperwork in, it could take, 2 or 3 months just getting all the paperwork together that you have to submit. And then once you get that together, then it takes a month to hear back from them. And once you hear back from them, they schedule you for aptitude test date, and that could be a month out. So right there's another month. So we've got 2, 3, now 4 months in. Then you take your aptitude test, and assuming that you pass it, it could take a month before you hear the results of your aptitude test. So there's now 5 months, and then once you hear the results of your aptitude test, then they'll let you know that they're going to schedule you for an interview, and it could take a month before you get that. Then you hear back about your interview date, so now you're 6 months in, and your interview date's for another month after that, so now you're 7 months in. And then you go in, and this is obviously extreme. I think my original process was 3 or 4 months. So then you go and you do your interview. And obviously it's all the regular questions. They take all of your paperwork into consideration, all of your stuff, and then once you interview, then they give you a score of eligibility. And out of 2,000 applicants, my score was number 275 or 175. I think it was 275. I don't know. I think it was 175. But the point is, 175, they're only taking 10 people a month. So 175, there's no way I was going to even get in. So they refresh it every month. They keep interviewing every month. And your eligibility only lasts 2 months. Plus people are getting into the apprenticeship, so as people are dropping off the eligibility list, people are being added on to the eligibility list, and your score just, fluctuates depending on who's in there. I mean, the entire process between the interview, the paperwork, your experience, all of those 3 things combined gives you a score, and your score is what determines where on the eligibility list you land. So I came out of it at 175, and then the next month I think I was at 192, and then the next month I was at 171, and I stopped getting scores after a while. I don't know if they just lost my email or what, but I know I'm obviously not getting close, otherwise they would let me. But anyway, you're allowed to re-interview to improve your score after getting 1,000 hours of eligible or of relevant experience, be it school or job related. So what I did, I took 12 classes through the union. These are just regular union classes and most people need them so that they can renew licenses or renew certificates or whatever. I took them just so I could get experience. But I also got an entry-level job with a low-voltage company. It's called installer, and it's one of only 2 jobs that the union recommends for getting experience because they're it's electricity. There's installer, stockman, and I got an installer, and I've been with this company for, I feel like about 8 months now. I'm well past my 1,000 hours, but the day I hit my 1,000 hours, I went down to our office and I had them print out my hours for proof, and then I went to the union and I submitted those hours, and I submitted all my certificates from all the classes I took at the union, and I said, okay, and here, let me just write a letter requesting a second interview. So I requested my second interview. So now I have all the school and I have all the hours of experience. 3 months go by, maybe 2 months go by without me hearing a thing from them. And I thought I was going to hear right away. Finally, they scheduled me for a second interview. So now, I'm trying to get a couple more letters of recommendation. My original 5 letters of recommendation that I submitted the first time I went through the entire process were all theater related. None of them obviously construction related. But I wrote a couple of them and then I just sent them off to my supervisors and had them, make their adjustments and give me their seal of approval or whatever. But my interview is coming up in 8 days now. So what I need to prepare for at this point is going through interview questions and really thinking about what I want to talk about, how I want to answer those. And you can find interview questions, on the internet. Just research that. I'm sure there's a lot of topic on it. They're all common questions. When I did the interview the first time, they were, the basic common questions that I found while researching it originally. So I know. And I've talked to people that have interviewed since then, and they got the same questions. I don't remember what they are now, but I know that I can easily find them. So I just need to prepare that, really. And then I just want to be real, and no acting, no anything. Just go in there and answer the questions truthfully, and let them know that I want into this internship, this apprenticeship. Now let's talk about why I want this apprenticeship. Money. The job pays really well. It's something like somewhere between $90 and $110 an hour. However, 48 of that is take home. The rest of it, the 50 whatever dollars that's left over, goes into pension, retirement. So you're putting more money into your retirement than you're actually bringing home, which is great because when you retire, it's like you've got a shit ton of money saved up. But it's okay because you're still bringing home $48 an hour. That's an incredible amount of money. I mean, for someone like me, that's still almost 6 figures. That's like $90,000 a year. Get a little OT, it's over $100,000 a year. So for me, who's making $13 an hour right now, that's a lot of money. Now, why am I making $13 an hour right now? Why don't I just get something else? Because just about everything else in the world pays more money than that. Because I'm an installer and I have to do this job in order to get that experience for me to get into the apprenticeship. Aside from money, as we talked about retirement, this is a job that if I'd started when I was 20, like I should have, I would have been able to retire when I was 40. So we've got retirement, we've got pension, obviously wages are a big deal with that. But also it's an interesting field, electrical theory is really complex. When I took that introduction to electrical theory class, it was, kind of melted my brain a little bit, and we start breaking down atoms, and it's like, there's trigonometry involved, and really complex mathematical problems. There's so many different things. It's not just electricity, it's wiring and boxes and metal piping and bending the piping using complex mathematical equations to go in different directions and angles, and it's really It's a very big thing, and that's why it's a 5-year apprenticeship. If I was to keep in the field that I'm in right now and become an installer 1 and then maybe a junior tech after that, there's no apprenticeship. You just start entry-level job and gain experience, learn more and more and more. Maybe I could go 06, which is low voltage. I don't know what their actual title is, but there's 06, which is the low voltage, 01, which is the one I'm trying to get into, and that's high voltage. But you could go 06, and that's a 3-year apprenticeship. And that's basically like the top of where I am right now, of what my installer experience is for. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be a really fun, interesting, challenging job, and it's like 5 years as an apprentice. Can I wait it out 5 years? Look, it's not about waiting it out, because starting as an apprentice with this job, the apprentice starts at $18.50 an hour, and you get raises like intermittently depending on hours. So $18.50 an hour, I'm making $13 right now. $13.50. So $18.50 from $13.50, that's $5. That would be such a huge financial boost for me that just starting as an apprenticeship would like rock my world. And getting all of those raises as I go, it's basically like having the job. There isn't an apprenticeship. It's just having the job, and then I just get raises for 5 years. So it's a really good deal. I don't know why people would drop off of the apprenticeship after, before the 5 years, because it's like a big boy job right out of the gate. So I guess if you're not truly into it, then yeah, you might want to drop out. But they're weeding people out before they even get in. And that's what this challenge of this interviewing and preparing and getting all the letters and getting this job experience, that's what it's for, is to prove that, you have tenacity and grit, and that, they're not going to waste their time and money on you. Because when you get into the apprenticeship, they give you all of your tools, all your basic tools that you're going to need. They give you time and energy and money, so they invest a lot in you. It's really important for them to make sure that you're not going to screw them over, and that they're not going to waste a bunch of money on you for you dropping out. So I'm going to end this here, but if I think of anything else in the next little bit, I will come back and we'll finish it. Thanks for listening. Can you see me at all, or do I have to stand this way? Can you see me if I face this way? I hope so. Not a lot to look at. I'm down here at the waterfront because we're waiting for the ferry. Yeah, fun times. So let's talk a little bit about the process for this apprenticeship. Oh, feeling good with my new haircut. I went through the first interview. I had a little bit of mechanical experience, I was a tire installer at a wheel shop for a very short time. I've been a pin setter mechanic at 2 different bowling alleys, which is, pin setter machines are complex as F. So I learned how to read schematics, I learned how to read blueprint. I have been a bicycle mechanic, so clearly I can adapt my skills in a variety of ways. All of those things helped me. I got 5 letters of recommendation from theater in that first interview. The approach that I took to that first interview was that I went to school for that. That was my passion. I spent 8 years pursuing that career, and I was just done and ready to move on. It wasn't like I was jumping ship, like I changed my mind. It was 8 years of commitment. Now, I ended up ranking coming out of the interview. What they do is they have a scoring system. There's like 20 categories or something like that. Anything from your physical presentation, like how professionally you're treating it, to documents that you submit, like my reference letters, to my aptitude test score, which wasn't that good, but it was enough to get me the interview, to experience in the field. There's a lot of different categories. They give you a score based on those categories, and then with all the scores combined, they give you an overall score. There's like 10 people on the panel. Each person is individually giving you their own scoring system. I don't know how they do it. They probably combine all of the scores, and then that's your overall score. But I ranked with whatever my score was, I don't even know. I ranked number 175, which I feel like is pretty good. And the reason I ranked pretty well is because of because of those little bits of experience that I had working with tools and things like that. But since I didn't have any direct experience working in construction or as an electrician, obviously I didn't score that well. So now, in order to get a second interview to improve your score, you have to qualify, and in order to qualify, you have to get 1,000 hours of relevant experience, or you could go to school and take electrical classes and whatever. Maybe you have to combine that with job-related experience, I'm not sure. So what I did, I went and got one of those entry-level jobs to the union. I took an installer position. The reason I took an installer position is because there's so many of them. There's a ton of installer positions. You can almost walk right into the union and get one. But anyway, you have to work 1,000 hours, and that's what I did. I worked 1,000 hours, but I also took a whole bunch of classes through the union that were free, because if you're a union member, you get to take these classes for free. They're meant for people who want to learn more about the trade, which is what I did, or also because in order to get certain certificates and licenses as an electrician, you have to take certain classes, and those are the ones that the union offers. So most of the people in those classes are there in order to renew their licenses or whatever. I was there in order to just gain experience. So I took 12 classes through the union. One of those was a CPR class, so that didn't really count. So 11 classes through the union, plus my 1,000 hours of experience. I feel like if I already had ranked 175, I'm already looking pretty good. Now, with 1,000 hours of experience plus my 11 classes on top of that, will that bump me up into the top 10, which is basically what I need to be in to get into the union? My heart says yes, but my brain says maybe we'll see. About a month and a half ago is when I reached my 1,000 hours of experience, and that's what I had been waiting for. And I went to the apprenticeship. I did a little handwritten letter requesting a second interview, saying I qualify for a second interview. I would like to do the second interview. They're like, great, that looks good to me. We'll go ahead and submit it. A month goes by. Still haven't heard a thing from them. Finally, I get an email, and it says, congratulations, you have an interview coming up. It's in 2 weeks, and this is the protocol to follow. You must acknowledge that you're going to the interview no less than 10 days before the interview. If it's after 10 days, then you disqualify and you can't reapply. Also, 10 days before your interview, if you want to submit any additional paperwork, like more reference letters, whatever, it has to be done 10 days before the interview. So I'm like, cool, I've got 4 days. So I ask a couple of people for reference letters. I got one, which is really unfortunate. And then I found an old one that I had gotten months ago when I was earlier in my job, when I was talking about wanting to do this. A guy wrote a reference letter for me, and even though it was still a long way in advance before I could even do it, I had it sitting in my email, so I was able to submit that, but I didn't remember I had it until 9 days from the interview. So I submitted it, didn't hear back from them. I don't know if they received it, so I don't know if it's going to work in my favor. And the third reference letter that I'm waiting for, I'm still waiting for it. My interview is in like 4 days, 5 days, so I'm probably not going to get it in time, which is a huge bummer. Also, like the day after I got the email, maybe 2 days after I got the email, I got a letter. Let's open it together. I know it's the exact same information as the email, but it's something I was extremely excited about, and I wanted to make sure I got it on camera. Let's read this together. That's my name and address. You don't need to know any of that information. You can just call me Charlie. And I think I give enough information we can figure out where I live anyway, so it's not a big secret, but my name was there, and you don't need to know my name. You just get to know my alias, which is Charlie. I think this is the first time I've ever admitted that Charlie Sip is an alias. Wow. No secret, but still. Application number, blah, blah, blah. Program applied for, Inside Wireman. We are pleased to inform you that you have met the minimum requirements for apprenticeship and have been scheduled for an interview with the PSEJATC. That stands for Puget Sound Electrical Joint Association Training Center. Got that? You are to report for an interview with the JATC, Joint Apprenticeship Training Center, as follows. December 28th, 2017 at 7:30 a.m. Chances are, by the time this video goes up, that date is passed. Location, blah blah blah. Please note, you must confirm your interview via email no later than 10 days prior to your interview date. Please send confirmation email to blah blah blah. Please include your name, interview date, and time. If you would like to submit any additional documentation, such as a resume or letters of recommendation, it must be in our office no later than 10 days prior to your interview. Documentation can be submitted via email, blah blah blah, mail, or in person. If you have any questions, please contact JATC at 425-228, blah 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 blah. Remember, in order to be considered for possible selection, you must report for the oral interview as scheduled above. If you fail to report for your interview when scheduled, your application will be canceled, and you will have to restart the application process if you wish to pursue an apprenticeship. That's bad grammar. You will have to restart the application process if you wish to pursue an It should be if you wish to pursue an apprenticeship, or if your wish is to continue to pursue an apprenticeship. Sincerely, blah blah blah. So that's that. I will definitely create a follow-up video about this entire process when it happens. I'm definitely not going to be recording the interview. I might record my process to and from the interview, but definitely not the interview. I want to be no distractions, focused, and I don't want them to be distracted by what I'm doing. I want them to think that I am all in. And if they see me doing that, they're gonna be like, oh, this guy, he's doing this shit. You know, we don't want that in our program. So, yeah. Let's dance a jig and have some fun, because the apprenticeship interview is coming up. Woo!
Yes, it's what you think it is. It's the email. It has my ranking. It tells me what I've been doing for the last 8 months and if it's worth it or not.
Okay. Settle down.
Breathe a little bit. Breathe a little bit.
Oh my god, 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 oh my god.
Oh my god, 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 oh my... Oh my god. Whoo! This is a big day. Hold on. Let me rewind a little bit.
A quick recap. Tried to get into the electricians union as an apprentice. It's very difficult. I placed 175 out of 2,000 or whatever it is. So that's pretty good, but still nowhere near close enough to get in. So the only thing to do was get experience. I went to the union, I got an entry-level position as an installer, and I've been working with a company for about 8 months, maybe 9 months at this point. I hit my 1,000 hours of eligibility, and so I reapplied to get an interview to prove that I've learned some stuff trade-related. 3 months later, I got my interview date. 2.5 weeks go by, and I finally get my interview. When I went in there the night before, I prepared all of the interview questions. I wrote out answers. I thought hard about my answers. You know, I didn't want to be a bumbling idiot like I am in front of the camera right now. I wanted to be as concise as possible, so I just worked my ass off that night getting ready. I went into the interview. They didn't ask me anything. They didn't ask me any of those questions. They said, oh, we see this is your second interview. What additional things can you tell us, you know, about your experience? And so they were very, it was more recap about what I've learned over the last, but I still went in there and tried to be, you know, tried to give it my best. Be as genuine as possible and show as much interest as possible. But then they asked me a couple of questions and I felt like I failed. 3 questions that I felt like I failed. One was, how many hours do you have? And I was like, oh, about 1,400. And the reason I feel like that was a bad answer is it shows that it's not a lot of experience. It's literally the bare minimum required. So they're seeing me as someone that's just maybe an opportunist. because that's basically what it is. When you're just hitting the minimums and trying to go again, it's just an opportunist. If they had somebody that got the 2,000 or 3,000 hours, you know, it shows that they're dedicated to the trade. Here's the big one. They asked me, aside from this work-related experience, what else I do, you know, spare time, whatever, that's industry-related. What else am I doing that shows interest in the trade? What else am I doing to learn more and get more experience? Just my 9 to 5? That's it? It's actually like 6 to 2, but whatever. And I'm like, oh, I nothing. Stupid! I should have said I spent hours every day learning, you know, watching videos, learning stuff, you know, preparing myself. Something, I don't know. So that was a big one. They saw that I didn't have that additional, you know, that excitement for it, and I don't go out of my way to learn anything additional. The other one was they were asking me if the company I work for wanted to hire me on if I became an apprentice, and I was just like, oh, I don't think they take O1 apprentices. I think they only do low voltage stuff. And they're like, no, they do have high voltage stuff. And I was like, crap. Now I look like a jerk for not even bringing this up with my company that I work for. Anyway, I felt like I failed. I thought I was going to rank, I figured I was going to rank in the 20 or 30 area, maybe up to 50, you know, which would be a huge improvement from 175, but the fact is, you know, they only take the top 10 or 15 or 20 each month for the apprenticeship, depending on needs, and I knew that I didn't get it, so, dreading this email, terrifying, but let's look at it together, and then we'll know, and then I can discuss what steps to take after this point. Let's look at this together. Okay, I'm thinking what I need to read right there is in red, and I just keep soft focusing on it because I don't want to see the actual numbers. Let's see what it says. Interview date, 12/28/2017. Interview score, 98.5. Scores out of 100. Now, 98.5 out of 100, that sounds really good, but I also think my score last time was like 96 points. I'll have to look it up, but I think it was 96 point something, and I was ranked 175, so 98.4. But that's a good improvement. That's a good improvement. Rank as of 12/29/2000. Am I reading that right? Am I reading that? It's a 4. It says 4. Oh my god. 4. It's a 4. Okay, let's just disregard everything we just talked about as far as what I did wrong in that interview. It's a 4. What does that mean? Well, this interview, or this email is not an acceptance into the program. I am not an apprentice. I am not in the apprenticeship. The email says they are going to be choosing the next class in mid-January, so basically 2 weeks from this email. They only, as far as I know, they only interview once a month. So that means that they probably will not be interviewing again before the class is chosen, so my ranking is not going to change before the class is chosen. And I am 4. I cannot imagine that they're going to select a class less than 4. I'm sure that and this just goes to show you what I know, maybe they do have classes of 2 or 3, but I can't imagine it. If they're going to select 3, then why wouldn't they select 4? I think I'm in. I think when they select the class, it's probably going to be the top 10. And I'm in the top 10. Repercussions. The good kind. The apprenticeship for Inside Wireman at least at the IBEW Local 46, which is kind of the Seattle branch, the apprentices start at significantly more than what I am making right now with my current company. Let me put it this way. My take home is pretty close to $10 an hour. So I've been making anywhere but from $300 to $350 a week. You want to talk about a life change? I'm sure there are plenty of you out there that are thinking $1,000 is chump change. To me, that's it's an opportunity to not be living in squalor anymore. Buy a new jacket, to buy food. I'm not in the apprenticeship yet, but I'm pretty close. Ranked 4. It's a really big deal. I'll keep you updated on how this goes. Okay? Bye!
I'm going to Renton to fill out some paperwork. I'll fill you in later. Very important, very exciting. I don't even have my microphone on the camera, but I have turned it on and tell you anyway. Oh boy!
Whew. It's been crazy. Like, all of this stuff, all of these steps, everything that I've been explaining to you has been crazy. Today is January 20th. The interview was February 28th. It's been either 22 or 23 days. It's been a long time. Well, hold on, let me just rewind a little bit. That last clip that I showed you just a few seconds ago, that was actually filmed Thursday, and today is Saturday, so this is 2 days after the fact. It's been really busy, so it's been hard for me to do this, but it's important that I share what has happened because things have been amazing. I got the email that I've been waiting for, and you know what I'm talking about. I was watching one of my favorite YouTube channels, just doing my thing, being lazy, laying in bed, watching YouTube. And I got this. You know when you're watching something on your YouTubes on your phone and then a little message appears and you gotta like swipe it out of the way? This is what it said. And I immediately knew what it was. I immediately knew good things were happening. And I had been checking my email like every 10 minutes since the 14th. So basically like, well, it was 4 days. 4 days I'd been waiting because they told me mid-January. So when mid-January rolled around, literally right in the middle of January, I was constantly checking my email. So when that popped up, it was like just that uber surge of excitement and then this crazy wave of anxiety at the same time, like it was too good to be true and maybe something was wrong with it. So I got it. The dates are, boot camp is gonna start on February 12th, and then the first week after boot camp, which would be Monday, February 19th, is when I'm eligible to be placed at a job. So I think the apprenticeship will actually start on February the 19th, but starting February 12th, I'll be taking evening classes, boot camp. Boot camp lasts 3 weeks, and I mean, I'm sure it's what it sounds like. I don't know what electrician boot camp is, but I'm sure it's just kind of a crash course on everything, what to expect from the apprenticeship. But anyway, it's pretty exciting. What I had to do when I got that email is it said, you must come to the office and accept it in person, and allow yourself such and such time to fill out all the paperwork. So I ran down there and I did that immediately. That's what you saw me doing. It was just like, I saw the email, I started throwing things together, and I tried to get down there because, you know, there was only a little bit of time. So I ran down there, and all it was like signing a piece of paper. I had to get on one of their computers and enroll in South Seattle Community College, since I guess the apprenticeship, even though it's not at South Seattle Community College, it's accredited through South Seattle Community College. So I'm actually going to earn some kind of an associate's degree or something, which I didn't even, who cares? And they made me go take a pee test, a drug test. So that has me super nervous. And then I also scheduled a physical, which I'm going to be doing in 2 days from now. So I'm gonna pass the physical, no problem. That's not even a thing. The drug test I'm a little nervous about. I don't do anything that's technically illegal. You never know what they're gonna put on their naughty list. So that has me a little worried. Just a hair. Boot camp starts on the 12th, and I am literally going to be taking you and documenting every single step of the way as I go. This video, which I'm sure is going to turn out to be a long one, I've not really begun editing it yet because I've just been throwing pieces together. You know, I started filming the first episode of this a month ago or more. This is going to be a long video, but I feel like the process is going to be a lot more like to the point. It's basically going to be my apprenticeship journal, and hopefully I keep it all 5 years of the apprenticeship. So that's what's up. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the biggest deals of my life ever. Now you know why it's important for me to make a video about something that to you seems like a small matter, but you can see why to me it's a big deal. It's mostly financial things, security, for future security. I'm getting super old, and I'm tired of being dirt poor. I'm just really excited to be able to move forward financially as an adult. You know, feels really good. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and I'm really excited to show you the rest of it. Super generic thing for me to say, but it's true and heartfelt. So until next time, peace.
Twice now, and it is pay for itself plus more. There's a lot of talking here.